And here is the finished cat bag. This is with the glitter fabric paint. And here's the other side of the bag. And then this is what the straps look like. And it has a zipper. And also a lining on the inside. And I made pockets too for the inside. So it has two pockets, one on each side. And it zips closed. Now I just want to show you a close-up. This is the checkbook cover that someone asked me to make, and you could put the top part here and the bottom part here. And here is a close-up of my bag, and you can see the beautiful puppy that I have and the flower serves as a button, and the strap will open up. And here's the inside. You can see it has a pocket that I made for one side and a pocket on the other side. And then here's the back of the bag. And you can see the puppies that I have on the back. And you can see how thick, when you combine the cotton with that Red Heart yarn, it makes a really sturdy bag. For this project, you're going to need your J crochet hook or 6mm crochet hook, and also your DMC yarn threader. And I used 2 tapestry needles, my larger one, and then also my smaller tapestry needle for the beads. And this is what's left over from my Red Heart Super Saver yarn that I got for 50 cents. And this one is colored light gray. And this is what's left over from my cotton yarn. This is 100% cotton. And this is from Lily Sugar and Cream. And it is 706 yards, 14 ounces, 400 grams. So it goes a long way. And this color is Potpourri Ombre. And I also made, with the same yarn, I made these cute bunny pot holders that you can turn over and put the hot stuff on the back. And also this 4-leaf clover that both of these are on YouTube tutorial if you want to make them. But I use these, they work great. The other yarn I used was Karen Simply Soft, and this color is Pagoda. See if I can bring that in. Yeah, there we go. And then I just used a pretty purple lilac color. It's a soft baby blanket yarn, and then also just any type of green yarn that you want for your flower. Now to make this bag, you're going to need to put the 2 yarn ends together as we crochet. So you're going to be crocheting with both ends. And the first thing we're going to do is just form a loop and then put your crochet hook through the loop. And I'm using my J crochet hook. Just take your middle finger and your thumb and hold it at the base of the loop. Then yarn over both loops and bring both loops through your yarn loop that you created, and that creates a slip knot. And now we're going to make a chain. So you're going to chain the length of the size of bag that you want. I'm going to show you how to do a few chains, and then I'm going to come back and show you how long my bag is. So you're just going to yarn over, go through both loops for chain 1, 2, 3, 4. So go ahead, chain the length that you want for your bag. So this is how your work should look. And I have a chain of 40 for my size bag. So I have a chain of 40. Now you're going to hold that last stitch with your middle finger and your thumb, and then we're going to move up to the next row. So you're going to make a chain 3. 1, 2, 3. That's going to count as your first double crochet. Now we're going to put a double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook, which is the stitch that you're holding with your middle finger and thumb. So you're going to yarn over, go into that 4th chain from the hook, going to bring up a loop. You have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, and then yarn over and go through 2. Now we're going to do another double crochet. I'm going to show you a couple more, and then you're just going to finish doing double crochets all the way back to the other end. So you're going to yarn over, go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, and then yarn over and go through 2. So go ahead, finish doing double crochets all the way back to the other side. Okay, so when you reach the end, then you're going to take and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to turn your work. Now when you turn your work, you can see that in the base of the chain 3 you created, there's that little upslope. You're not going to work into that stitch. You're going to work into the next stitch over. So you're going to yarn over, go into that next stitch, bring up a loop, and create your double crochet. And then you're going to do a double crochet all the way to the end. So when you reach the last 2 stitches, come back and I'll show you how to turn and go up to the next row. Now when you reach the ends of your row, it's very important to make sure that you get every stitch at the end of the row. So here you can see I have 1 stitch and 2 stitches left. So I'm going to do my double crochet into the next stitch, and then the double crochet into that last stitch, and then you chain 3, and then turn your work and work double crochets all the way back across. And you're going to do that for every row until you get the size that you want for your pocket and your bag. Your main bag is going to have 30 rows if you want it to be the same size as my bag, and I just folded it in half. Now when you finish your last stitch, you're going to go ahead and finish off. You just yarn over and pull enough yarn through that you're going to bury into your work, and then just pull the loose yarn ends down snugly to form a knot. Now for the inside pockets, you're going to do the same thing, fold over to form your loop, and then you're going to yarn over and pull the yarn through the loop for your slip knot. And now you're going to chain the length that you want for your pocket. So go ahead, chain the length you want for your inside pocket, and then come back. My pocket was a chain of 20, and now I'm doing my double crochets back to the other side. My inside pocket has 6 rows. The straps you're going to work the same way, except you start with the chain of 6. So your strap is going to have 34 rows when you're done, and you're going to need 2 of them. Now for the center strap of the purse, you make it the same way that you did for your strap, the main strap of the purse, except you're going to stop after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows, and then you're going to do, on your last stitch, you're going to chain 10 and then slip stitch it into the first stitch that you did for that row. And that way you have a little loop that you can use around a button or around a flower. Now for the checkbook, we're going to start with the slip knot. You're just going to fold the yarn over on itself, and then I'm using my J crochet hook or 6mm crochet hook. And then you're just going to yarn over and pull the yarn through the loop for a slip knot. And then you're going to make a chain of 25. I'm just going to show you 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. So go ahead, finish making a chain of 25 and then come back. For your flower, you're going to start with the magic circle. Just drape the yarn across your 4 fingers, use your thumb to stabilize, then wrap the yarn around your 2 middle fingers and hold it in place with your pinky and your thumb. Then you're going to take your crochet hook, and I'm still using my J crochet hook. I'm going to loop the yarn, bring up a loop under those 2 yarn strands that you wrapped around the middle finger. Then you're going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through the loop for a slip knot. Then you're going to make 6 single crochet into the magic circle. Then you're just going to take your thumb and your forefinger and hold it at the base of the 6 single crochet, and then you have those 2 loops on the opposite side. Go ahead and pull on one of them. If it doesn't close, you let go and pull on the other one, but this one's closing. Just close it loosely. Then take that long loose yarn in and pull on that. And now you're just going to do a slip stitch into that first stitch. So go under both loops of that first stitch, and you're going to yarn over and bring the yarn through both loops on your hook for a slip stitch. Then you're going to make a chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to go and do a single crochet into the same stitch. And then you're going to go into the next stitch, do a single crochet, and then make chain 3. 1, 2, 3, do a single crochet into the same stitch. And you're going to do that into every stitch all the way around until you get back to the beginning. Now you should be back to where you started, and you're going to do a slip stitch into that first chain 3 space that you created. So you're just going to do a slip stitch, and then you're going to do a double crochet. So yarn over, go into the same stitch, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, and then yarn over and go through 2. And we're going to do 4 double crochet into the same chain 3 space for a total of 5. So you're going to yarn over, go into the same chain 3 space, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, yarn over and go through 2. So now I have 5 in the same chain 3 space. So now I'm going to do a slip stitch in the same space, and then I'm going to do a slip stitch into the next chain 3 space, and then I'm going to do 5 double crochet into the next space. You're going to do this all the way around, and you can see how it's creating a nice little petal. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochet. So I'm going to do a slip stitch into the same chain 3 space. So you yarn over, bring the yarn through both loops on your hook for a slip stitch. Then you're going to slip stitch into the next space. I'm going to do one more with you. So slip stitch into the next chain 3 space, and then I'm going to do 5 double crochet, and then I'm going to do a slip stitch in the same chain 3 space, and you can see how I'm forming the petals. So go ahead, finish doing petals in all of your chain 3 spaces, and then come back. So now I just finished my last petal, and I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 petals on this one. Now I'm going to be working in the spokes in the center. So I'm just going to show you I'm going to be working around these spokes on the inside of the flower. So you're just going to take your crochet hook and go around your first spoke. And then I'm going to bring up a loop. And then I'm going to yarn over and go through both loops for a single crochet. And then I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to go around the next spoke. Bring up a loop. 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through both for a single crochet. And then I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to go around the next spoke. Bring up a loop. 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through both for a single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to go around the next spoke. And I'm going to do this all around the center of my flower. Until I get back to where I started. And so now I'm back to where I started. So I'm going to do a slip stitch into that first single crochet that I did. So I'm going to yarn over and bring the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. So I slip stitched the center. Now I'm going to do a slip stitch into that first chain 3 space. And then I'm going to do 3 double crochet into the same chain 3 space. And then I'm going to do a slip stitch in the same chain 3 space. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the next chain 3 space. And you can see how you're creating a petal into each chain 3 space. So I'm going to do one more with you. 3 double crochet into the same chain 3 space. And then I'm going to do a slip stitch. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the next chain 3 space. And I'm going to repeat this pattern all the way around until I get back to the beginning. Okay, so now you're going to do a slip stitch into the next petal. So I'm going to go into the chain 3 space to do the slip stitch. Just yarn over and bring the yarn through both loops. Oops, let me try that again. Both loops. And then you're going to finish off, yarn over, and just bring enough yarn through to sew the flower onto your project. And then you have your beautiful flower. For my leaves, I'm using Sincerely Pearl Essence every day, and the color is Sincerely Lime. The first thing we're going to do is our slip knot. So you just form a loop, and then take your crochet hook and put it right through the loop. Hold it at the base of your middle finger and thumb, and then just yarn over and pull the yarn through your loop for a slip knot. Now you're going to do a chain of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now you're going to do a single crochet into the second chain from the hook. So go into the second chain from the hook, bring up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through both for a single crochet. Then you're going to do a half double crochet into the next stitch. So you yarn over, go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through all 3 for a half double crochet. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, yarn over and go through 2. Then we're going to do a treble crochet. So you're going to yarn over twice, go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, yarn over and go through 2, yarn over and go through 2, and then yarn over and go through 2. Now we'll do a double crochet into the next stitch, then a half double crochet into the next stitch, and then a single crochet into the last stitch. And we're going to do 3 single crochet into that last stitch, a total of 3. And then you're going to start turning, because now you're going to work up the opposite side. And at the same time, I'm going to bury my loose yarn end. So in the next stitch, I'm going to do a half double crochet. Next stitch, a double crochet. And then I'm going to do a treble crochet, yarn over twice, go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, yarn over and go through 2, yarn over and go through 2, and then yarn over and go through 2. Then you're going to do a double crochet, then you're going to do a half double crochet, and then you're going to do a single crochet, then you can go ahead and cut your loose yarn end if it's still showing. And then you can go ahead and slip stitch into the first stitch that you had, or right at the tip of your leaf. Yarn over and bring the yarn through both loops on your hook for a slip stitch. Then you're going to finish off, yarn over, and just pull enough yarn through to sew your leaf onto your project. So you can make as many leaves as you want for your project, but this is what your leaf will look like. And this is what it looks like after I've cut around the embroidery stitch. The first thing we're going to do is sew our pockets onto the inside of our bag. And I decided to make 2 pockets, and my second pocket I made with just the red heart yarn, and you could see the difference. It makes a big difference. This one is much easier to make, of course. It's not as thick, nearly as thick as the bag, but you can decide, you know, what if you want to make a bag just like this or with this. But for this one, I made a chain of 25, and then it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows for this pocket. Now you're going to go ahead and get your tapestry needle, and I'm using the same colored yarn as my bag. And go ahead and decide which side you want for the outside. And then this is the top of my bag. And then once you know which side you want for the outside, then you're just going to open it. And then line your pocket on the inside. Here's the top of my bag. Position the pocket where you would like to have it. And then just take your tapestry needle, and you're going to start from the inside, go through the front, make sure you leave enough yarn end for burying into your work and tying a knot. And then you're just going to sew along the edge of your pocket. Actually, I'm going to start from the top part of the pocket. And then I'm just going to tie a knot. And then I'm just going to sew along the edge of the pocket. Make sure that you can't see your stitches on the other side as you're sewing. And then you're just going to sew along the pocket, making sure you sew along the sides, the bottom, and then go ahead and turn your work. And then this is the other side of the bag. And then you can sew your other pocket in place the same way and then come back. Make sure that you bury all of your loose yarn ends around your pockets. And here is the other pocket on the inside. Now we're going to flip over our work. Go ahead and fold it up so that you know where the top of your bag is. And then you're going to decide which side you want for the front so we can sew on the animals. Now when you know where the front of your bag is, you're going to want to get your strap and your flower because you want to make sure you know where your flower is going to go. So I'm going to have my flower right here. So I'm going to go ahead and sew my flower in place. When I sew my flower on, I'm only sewing through the front of the bag and I'm only sewing along the center of the flower. So go ahead and sew your flower on and then come back. Once your flower is sewn on, then you're going to take your strap, go ahead and hook the flower, and then you're going to take and fold it over onto the back, and then you're going to sew. You can go ahead, once you have it laid flat where you want it, then you can take the loop off of the flower, and then you're going to sew it to the back of the bag. When you're sewing it in place, you're going to want to sew it all along in a square so that it's secure on the back. Now you're going to fold your bag again, and I have the front facing me, and you're going to want to place your dog where you want on the front. Here's my flower, and decide where you want it to go. And as you're deciding where you want to place it, make sure you're keeping in mind that your strap is going to be sewn on here. And then I'm going to show you how to sew on your dog. Now once you know where you want your dog, then you're going to take and you're going to come up from the inside and make sure you're careful with your pocket. You don't want to sew your pocket closed. Make sure you leave enough loose yarn end also for tying a knot. And then you're going to go through the embroidery stitch on the dog and then back down through the bag. And then you're going to go ahead and tie a knot on the inside. And then you're just going to keep sewing all the way around the bag. And again, you need to be careful of the pocket on the inside. You don't want to close your pocket and you don't want to go through the back. You only want to go through the front flap. And then come back. And this is what my dog looks like, all sewn on. This is the front. And on the inside, you can see how I buried all of my loose yarn ends and I didn't shut my pocket. You could still get into the pocket. Now you're going to finish sewing all your other patches on that you want. This is the back of my bag. And here is the front. And to make the rest of the flower, you just make a chain with whatever green that you want. And I made a chain of 20. And then I just sewed down my leaf. And that's what the front of my bag is going to look like. Now you're just going to take your tapestry needle and you're going to fold the two sides of your bag together and then just take your tapestry needle and sew the sides shut. And then take your straps and you're going to lie the strap down on each of the corners. And remember, you're only going to sew them to one side. So this is the back of my bag. And I laid about 1, 2, 3 rows down, and then I sewed with my tapestry needle around the edges and also across the top, so that way the bag is extra secure. Make sure that your strap doesn't twist, and then you're going to sew on the other side. So you can see how it makes a nice loop with the strap. And then go ahead and sew the front strap on and the back strap on the same way, and then come back. And here is a close-up of my bag, and you can see the beautiful puppy that I have and the flower. And the flower serves as a button, and the strap will open up. And here's the inside. You can see it has a pocket that I made for one side and a pocket on the other side. And then here's the back of the bag, and you can see the puppies that I have on the back. And you can see how thick, when you combine the cotton with that Red Heart yarn, it makes a really sturdy bag. After you finish your chain of 25, go ahead and take that last stitch that you worked and hold it with your middle finger and thumb, and we're going to move up to the next row. So you're going to yarn over and go through that loop for chain 1, 2, 3. That's going to count as your first double crochet for the next row. Now you're going to go into the 4th chain from the hook, which is the stitch that you're holding, and we're going to do a double crochet into that stitch. So you're going to yarn over, go into that 4th chain from the hook, going to bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, yarn over and go through 2. Now go ahead and finish doing a double crochet all the way back to the beginning. So I'll do one more with you. Now you're going to go ahead and do a chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then turn your work. And you're not going to go into this the base of the first chain 3 that you did. You're going to go into the next stitch over and do a double crochet. So you're going to yarn over, go into that next stitch over, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, yarn over and go through 2. And then you're going to just do double crochet all the way back across to where you started. Now I'm going to show you the last 2 stitches. So you can see I have 1 stitch here, and then I have 1 stitch on the very end. So I just wanted to show you because it's important that you get both stitches so your work won't be crooked. And then my last stitch. And then you're going to go ahead and chain 3 and turn your work. And you're going to repeat this process until your checkbook is complete. And you're going to need 27 rows to be completed. Now you're going to get the same colored yarn and put it onto your tapestry needle, and you're going to fold up both ends so that you have 1, 2, 3 double crochet and 1, 2, 3 double crochet on both sides. And then you're going to start along the bottom, and you're just going to go through the front and the back flaps, just 1 stitch, and then go ahead and tie a knot. And then you're just going to go back and forth and just sew the ends together. And you're going to do that for this side, this side, this side, and this side, and then come back. Now take all of your loose yarn ends and put them onto your tapestry needle, and you're just going to weave into your work. weave weave the loose yarn end into your work. And you can see how you have a flap for the top part of the checkbook and then a flap for the bottom part of the checkbook. Go ahead and finish burying all of your loose yarn ends. Now you could be finished here, or you can add the other decorations that I'm going to show you. So go ahead and get your second colored yarn onto your tapestry needle, and you're just going to take the front of your checkbook and you're just going to take and go through the stitch at the top of your checkbook. You can see how I'm weaving through with my tapestry needle under those stitches. Make sure you leave enough of a loose yarn end for burying into your work. And then you're just going to go through either 2 or 3 stitches. I'm going to do mine sets of 3, and I skipped one. And you can see the color shows through. You're going to do that all the way across. And then come back. Now I'm on the other side, and I'm going to take and go through the end and then turn my work, because now I'm going to go back across and do the same thing. And you can see how it's creating a pretty design. And you could do yours the whole way down with this design, or just the top like I'm going to do. So when you reach the end, come back and I'll show you what to do next. So this is what it looks like so far, and I came out on the other end. Now you can tie your knot. And then you're going to take and bury your loose yarn end. So go ahead and bury all your loose yarn ends and then come back. Now you could be done here, or you can go to my Helen May Crochet YouTube channel and you can find my cat and dog bag, and I show you how to make these cute little beaded animals, and we could put them onto your checkbook. Go ahead and center your dog how you want it on the checkbook, and then you're just going to take your tapestry needle with some yarn, the same colored yarn, and you're going to go under the embroidery stitch that you did on the felt. And you can tie a knot. You may want to hold your hand inside the inside so you don't sew the dog onto the flap. You don't want to sew it onto the flap. You only want it on the outer part. And then you just take your tapestry needle and you just go back through under the embroidery stitch and down into the bag. You can see how it pulls down on the dog and sews it in place. And then you're going to come back up and you're just going to sew the dog onto the checkbook. You can see how I'm coming out through the inside of the bag and not through the back portion. So go ahead and sew on the dog and then come back and we'll see your finished product. This is what it looks like after you sew it on. And then on the inside I have my loose yarn ends. So I'm going to go ahead and tie a knot on the inside. And then I'm going to take my loose yarn ends and I'm going to go just through the back. Don't go through the front. Just go behind the dog, weave your tapestry needle, and then just bury your loose yarn ends. And then come back. And you have your checkbook cover. And on the inside, you could put the top part of the checkbook and the bottom part of the checkbook. And then you can make the matching bag.